everybody. My name is Tay Lee, and I am the founder of Never Go Broke. We are a financial literacy company. We're a financial literacy company where we teach kids, entrepreneurs, adults, basically just how to be successful with money and never go broke. Like, that is the whole purpose of our company. So today I'm going to go over a couple of tips with you all when it comes to budgeting. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. I want you all to ask questions. That's going to make this better. So please ask questions. Okay, so today we're going to talk about budgeting for the young adult. So what exactly is a budget? Lots of time people don't know what a budget is, and when they think about a budget, they think of it in a negative way. They think of, oh, you're trying to take control of my money, you're trying to see where it's going, when that is not the case. So a budget is a financial plan that tracks income and expenses over a certain amount of time. When it comes to budgeting, you can do it however you would like to do it. You can do it on a daily basis, you can do it on a monthly basis, you can do it on a weekly basis. Me in particular, I tend to do mine on a daily to weekly basis because it helps me keep control of my money. Because if I just wait till the end of the month, it's not going to work out that way for me. Like, money will be all over the place. It'll just be horrible. So for me, I try to track what I'm doing daily and weekly. So when I actually get to the end of the month, it really helps. Your income and your expenses, they show you a lot about how you're actually making your money work for you. So why should you budget? You should budget basically because it helps you take control of your money. If you don't know what your money looks like, if you don't know where it's going, if you don't know what's actually coming in, your money can get out of hand and you'll end up living check to check. I'm not sure if any of you know what check to check is, but that means that by the time you get your check, you're out of money. And by the time you get your next check, you're out of money. And then if you lose a check, you're going to be completely out of money. You'll be in the hole. You won't be able to pay bills. You'll be struggling. The lights may get turned off. So budgeting really allows you to actually see your money, to say, you know what, this is what's going on, this is what it looks like, and I'm able to take control of it. I'm able to see how it can benefit me, how it can benefit my friends, how it can benefit my family. Like, I'm able to see everything. And I don't have to worry about borrowing money or taking money from a payday loan, which I'm not sure if you all know that yet, because I don't know if anybody has gotten to that level, which we hope you don't. So when should you start budgeting? In my opinion, you should start budgeting now. Everybody always says, hey, I'm going to start budgeting when I make more money. I'm going to start budgeting when things get right. I'm going to start budgeting when I get a new job. It's always a reason or an excuse as to why they'll start budgeting later. So you need to start budgeting now. By budgeting now, you're able to see, you know what, allowance, I know what that looks like, I got this job, I know what that looks like, and I'm able to actually see everything across the board. So don't wait to start budgeting. Just go ahead and start now, especially if you have any kind of money coming in, whether it's an allowance, whether it's your job, whatever it is, go ahead and start budgeting now. If you start budgeting now, you don't have to worry about borrowing any money later. If you say, well, I'll try to do it later, and then later you'll end up having to borrow from family, friends, and it can turn into a whole mess. Because I'm not sure if any of you know, when you start borrowing money from family and friends, maybe you're not able to pay it back. You can end up losing friendships, family members. Like, it can get really bad. And then especially if you ever start going to title loans, payday loans, any of those things, you can get in a lot of trouble and it'll be really hard for you to get out the hole. So as soon as you start making any type of money, allowance, work, job, anything, go ahead and start budgeting now. So before you actually start budgeting, you need to sit down and ask yourself, why are you budgeting? People budget for many different reasons. People budget to take control of their money. People budget so they don't have to borrow. People budget so they can buy the things they want. people budget so they can buy the things they need. So an example of that would be, okay, so I want to go ahead and start budgeting just so I know what my money looks like. But I also want to start budgeting so that I can save up for a car. And then after I save up for a car, I can save up to put extra money back if I'm in school or going to college and I'll actually need that. Or it can be something as small as, you know what, I really want to get these shoes. And in order for me to get these shoes, I know I have to put back an extra $10 a week from every check. I'm able to do that because I'm budgeting. I see what it looks like. And so you just have different reasons for budgeting. But I always say, make sure you know what your why is when it comes to budgeting, because if you actually know what your why is, you won't give up on it so easily. A lot of times people say, well, I'm just going to go budget. But then if something else happens, they're not going to budget anymore. So just make sure you sit down and write down 3 reasons of why you want to budget and what you're actually budgeting for. And those why can be short term, those whys can be long term. Just go ahead and put them down so you'll always have something to look forward to when it comes to budgeting. So, in order to start budgeting, you have to know exactly what's coming in. And what's coming in would be your income and your allowances. So, you all can say, well, I am getting in $100 a week on my allowance. This is what I have coming in. If you have a job, you can say, I'm making $200 a week at my job. I have this amount of money coming in. When you can actually see the amount of money that you have coming in, you can say, okay, I have this coming in, so I know what I'm able to spend. If you just always have money coming in and you never look at it and you're just always spending willy-nilly, it's going to be really hard for you to keep a budget. So just always know what money that you have coming in. If you figure one of those things out, it'll put you on the right path to budgeting. Then after you figure out exactly what you have coming in, you'll take a look at what you have going out. So I think everybody's like 14 to maybe 21, 22. You may not have as many expenses, but as you grow older, you'll see that your expenses will grow. You'll have more bills. You'll have a car note, maybe car insurance. If you're going to school, you have to eat. You have to put gas in your car if you have a car. If you don't have a car, then you may have to catch rides from people, and that can end up being very expensive, especially like Uber and Lyft and things like that, because you have to get from point A to point B. Or if you even ride the bus, you still have to pay for the bus. So take a look at what expenses you have leaving out your household. So right now, if you're 14 or 15, you may say, you know what, I really don't have that many expenses going out, but I do know exactly what I have coming in, but my expenses may just be me eating every week because sometimes I want to eat and hang out with my friends. And so that may be an expense that you have, but nonetheless, it is an expense. So if you're able to look at what you have coming in and what you have going out, you can get a better handle on your budget. Because if your expenses that are leaving your household are more than what you have coming in, you'll always be in the hole. So we want to really work towards looking at both of them, seeing what they look like. Like I said, some people do daily, some people do weekly, and some people do monthly. It just really depends on how your allowance or your income comes in. But regardless of how it comes in, you have to know what it looks like. So always pay attention to that. That's going to be extremely important when it comes to taking control of your money. So when it comes to expenses, you have different types of expenses. You have your fixed expenses. Your fixed expenses are the ones, they typically stay the same every month. They don't really go up and down. So that would be your car note. An example of that is your car note. So your car note will come out, your car note may be $250 every month. It's going to be $250 every month until you pay it off. It's going to be the same. You may have rent. If you're renting something, your rent will typically stay the same unless they start doing increases. And if they happen to do an increase, it's usually like yearly. They don't do it every month. So you have to think about your expenses that are going out every month. Then you have your variable expenses. Those expenses, they change every month. So gas may change because you may not work as much and you may not go as many places. Your something else that changes. Oh, if you have a power bill, your power bill may change every month unless you are on like a budget plan and they just leave the same every month. So your power bill may change, your gas bill may change. And I mean gas in the house, if you have gas, all those things can change. But typically, an example of something that may not change would be your internet and cable bill. So that may be fixed every month. But depending on how much you're at the house, your power bill can change. So I know a lot of us are at the house more because of COVID. I'm at the house way more than I used to be because it's not a lot of places for me to go, a lot of things to do. So my power bill is more expensive because I'm constantly running the air all day and all night because we are in Alabama and it's hot. So we want to actually look at them. So when it comes to your budget, you like, oh, I have this amount coming in, boom. Every month I have these expenses. These expenses, they don't typically change. I know I have to have them. I know what they look like. So I'm going to take that away from what my income is. But I have my variable expenses. Those change every month. So is there a way for me to decrease them if I'm spending too much on something? Or is it something that I necessarily have to have when it comes to variable expenses? Because you have to have power. That's important. You have to have water where you're living. Those are important things that you have to have. But do you have to eat out as much every month? Can you cut back on eating out? Can you cut back on shopping? Can you cut back on maybe getting your hair and your nails done or buying your favorite pair of shoes every month? You have to think of these things when it comes to your expenses because by you thinking of them, you're like, ooh, look how much I saved. Because when it comes to budgeting, you always still want to have something back to save. You don't want your whole check or your whole allowance to be gone every single time that it comes in because that can lead to stress, heartache, frustration, and we don't want any of that. So just always think about that when it comes to your expenses. Actually take a look at them. So how do you start budgeting? That's something that we just talked about. Just take a realistic overview of everything that you have coming in, everything that you have going out. Start writing it down. You can use the app. It's a lot of different ways you can do it, but just make sure you do it and don't run from it. Don't run from actually seeing what your income and expenses look like because of the stress. People get stressed, kids and adults all get stressed. They're like, well, I don't want to look at it because it's going to make me sad. I'm not able to catch up. I'm not able to do a lot of things that I want to do, but you can. You just got to be willing to sit down and just really take a look at it because when you take a look at it, you know what it looks like and you know what you need to do in order to get started. So, how do you start budgeting? Everybody does it differently. Me, I'm more old school, so I write everything down like in my books, in my planners. Like I'm writing down everything. Like this is what's going out, this is what's coming in, this is when I'm getting paid. I know if I don't work this long, this is what it's going to look like. So me, I'm more old school. I like pen and paper. The younger generation, they don't necessarily like pen and paper a lot, but it's different apps out here where you can connect it to like your bank account or you can put in what you're spending. And I think it's more than one way to do it. Some people do both. Some people do one or the other. But whatever it is, you need to actually see it. You shouldn't be guessing about it. Don't guess. Don't be like, well, I think I spent this or I could have spent that. Like, don't guess. Make sure you write it down. You can put it with an app. There's so many different apps out there. YNAB, you need a budget. Mint is one of them. There are a lot of apps out there where you can connect to your bank account if you have one, or you can just go in and put in your information so you can see it. By you seeing it, you actually know what it looks like. You can have receipts. Receipts are a way for you to keep track of things if you're doing it this way. Receipts are one of the biggest things. Or if you're paying online, they'll send you stuff out so you can look at it. So it's a lot of different ways to look at things. And one of the big things I say, if you're spending a lot of cash because you're not using a debit card or anything like that, just keep track of the cash that you have. Say, today I know I have $100. This $100 took me for the whole week, or this is what I spent the $100 on. So that way you can actually know where your money is going. Some people like me, I don't carry a lot of cash because I'm not able to keep track of cash as much as I would like to. But I know if I swipe my debit card, I can see everything that's on my debit card. I can see every transaction that I made. So that's just a couple of different ways to look at it. And like I said, You Need a Budget is a good app. I think they're free. And then Mint is another good one. A lot of us use, Cash App to pay things. Well, Cash App to like transfer money back to each other if somebody needs something, vice versa. You can also look at what you're doing, like on your Cash App, your Vimo, or your Zelle, if something like that. Is that what your bank offers? So it's a lot of different ways to do it, but just make sure you can actually see it in realistic form and not guess about it. Guessing about it will get you all jammed up. So here is an example of a monthly budget template. I think you all have this. So this is something you have. So we have your credits on this side, and then we have your debits on the right side. So for your income source, we have your allowance, like how did you actually get paid? Wasn't it allowance? Was it your first job? Was it your second job? The day you actually got paid and the amount that you received. So that way you can see exactly what's going on when it comes to credit, your income source, all of those things. Then on the right side, we have your expenses. You can put down what all your expenses were, the actual day that you paid it, and then how much was it. Like I said, when you get to the end of the week or the end of the month, however you want to do it, you can totally tally both of them up, and then you'll see what you have left. This is really important, y'all. I know I'm kind of repeating this part over and over, but you have to see it. By seeing it, you know exactly what's going on. So just make sure you do it. You all should have these templates. It's something that you should use. Like I said, if you don't have an app, you can always put it on paper. Okay, so another thing we have to think about when it comes to budgeting is distinguishing your needs from your wants. You have to ask yourself, is this something that I have to have? Is it something I have to have today? Can I hold off for a couple of months? Or if I don't have this done, what can exactly happen? Something that you may say a need is, okay, well, my car needs to be fixed. I can't wait to get my car fixed. So this may be something I may have to take out the income. It wasn't something that was expected, but it's something that I actually need to get done. Versus, you know what? I just really want these shoes that came out. Like, I just think these shoes are so awesome and I want them. Like, do you have to get these shoes now? Or can you wait a couple of months? Or can you wait a week or two until you get enough money to where everything's okay and you don't want to stress about it? Because when it comes to getting your car fixed and buying shoes, you buy the shoes, now you don't have a car. So now you don't have a car, you can't get to work. Then you have to ask people to take you to work all the time. Then you got to give them gas money. And then you just lost out on a whole bunch of stuff and you could possibly lose your job. So make sure before you do anything, decide, is it a need or is it a want? That's going to totally help you within your future. I tell myself all the time, like, it's some stuff I want to do, but I'm like, you know what? I think I can wait. I can wait because this isn't important. I don't have to have it. Like, it's something I can wait and do. Yeah. And also, if you spend the money, will it hurt your overall goal of whatever you're trying to do? Whether that's going to school, buying a car, any of those things, getting your own apartment, ask yourself that question. And so here's an example of a monthly wants versus need charts. You have your actual need, how much it costs, your wants, how much it costs, and what's the difference. If you didn't get it, how much did you save? Or if you decided that you still really wanted it, what are cheaper alternatives that you can get in order to get it done? Example of that could be, okay, so I want to get my hair done, but the person I want to go to, they are $200 for me to get my hair done. The question is, do I need to get my hair done now, or can I actually wait? Or can I go to somebody else that's a little bit cheaper and I'm saving money by doing it? So it just really depends, but make sure that you can actually, go over your wants versus your needs to actually see what it looks like, because that's going to help with your budget too. If you think about not getting something done or not buying this that you didn't actually have to have, you can really start saving. Like, that is really, really important, and also a part of budgeting. And so it's a couple of things I want you all to remember when it comes to starting a budget, going through a budget, working on a budget. All of these things are important. So you need to be patient. Just know that when you start budgeting, things happen in life. Sometimes they're not going to work out. You'll have unexpected expenses. You'll have things that go wrong. But just know that when it comes to budgeting, you have to be patient within the process. You have to know that it takes time. But even though it takes time, if you stay committed to it, you can actually do it. Then you have to be positive. Don't go into it with a negative attitude like, man, I can't do this. Things never work out. Stuff always happens to me. It may, but you still have to be positive and know that it's a reason. It's a reason. So just stay positive and keep going. Like patience, being positive, it'll definitely work out. Then when it comes to budgeting, make sure you're realistic with your budgeting goals. I'm not saying that none of this can happen, but be realistic when it comes to it, because you don't want to have a goal to save $10,000 this year, but you're only making $4,000. Just be realistic in your goals and make them. You don't have to make them to where you'll just knock them out the park every single time, but just be realistic. Make sure they're attainable and that you won't necessarily be super duper stressed out about it because you didn't get it. So just be realistic with it. And then also remember not to give up when it comes to budgeting. It's a process, y'all. It's a process with everything you do, and you can't give up just because it didn't work out the first time. Remember that this first time you tried budgeting, it just didn't exactly go right. You weren't able to save as much money. You had to spend the whole check this time. But just know next time that it can happen, because you learn how to cut back on stuff you don't necessarily, the things that you want, you were able to, you said, you know what, no, I don't want that this month. That'll be a 2 or 3 month goal. That's not something I have to have. So just remember just to keep pushing through all of this, because budgeting takes time. Nobody did this overnight. It took me a while to like learn how to budget. And sometimes I still be like, man, crap, I just did not get it this time. But next time I know that I will. So just remember these 4 things. And if you remember these 4 things and go through everything that I spoke of, you'll be able to budget, you'll be able to save, you'll be able to, after that, eventually invest. And investment is a great tool and factor to have in your life that will allow you just to grow. Because when it comes to investments, you can be like, oh, I have this number of properties, or I have this much stock, or I have this going on. It's so many things that can come from actually just being patient, being positive, being realistic, and just continuing to push through, even though things are not working out in your favor right now. So just always remember those things. And so once again, Tay Lee with Never Go Broke. Our website is nevergobroke.money, and you can reach me on all social media platforms at I am Tay Lee. Never Go Broke. If you all have any questions, we have a contact form where you can reach us, and we'll be happy to help.
Well, I'm going to start off with the first question, I guess. I know you generally like to write your budget, but do you have any apps that you recommend for them?
You Need a Budget is YNAB. That's a good one. Mint is a good one.
And that's Mint, the MYNT?
MINT, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Nobody has questions about budget and money. Everybody got it under control.
Well, I have a question for everybody here. Is there anything that you have planned within the year that you would like to reach financially as a goal? Like she had brought up saving for a car, anything like that?
I plan on saving money for college because, I need to have like some money stored away, in case of emergencies.
Right. Okay, so how much do you want to have stowed away? Because we know we have Fostering Hope. We know that your tuition should be good and covered. But for your emergency fund, how much are you planning to save for this year?
I save 40% out of every check.
Okay, so you already have a budget established.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You didn't have anything about budgeting?
Well, I understand all of what she said because, like, stuff does happen. That's why I'm trying to save up enough money on my savings, because I know if I, like, the parts of this car, if they mess up, like, they're very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, anything can happen, It is true, because I only have a certain amount of money in my account right now, so that's why I'm not trying to buy anything or get anything out of there to buy anything that I want, actually. I'm trying to, like, save it for anything that I need.
So you have that whole wants versus needs worked out already. Do you have a budget set up?
Trying to save up enough money to get my
Wait,
own
someone
apartment, and then after that, I'm gonna save up enough money again to like buy me a house or something later on.
Down the line, yeah.
Does everybody in here have either bank accounts or some way to track your money?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean, budgeting wise, I just asked my mommy to do it for me.
Well,
Your
Yeah.
mommy
probably like my
your
account
mommy
right now. My account is linked to my foster mom's because like I'm not 19 yet, so it's linked to her account. So if anything goes wrong in there, she'll know.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But are you monitoring it yourself? Are you learning how to do that? Because she won't always be there.
Yeah, I mean, she's teaching me slowly. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I don't know half the stuff.
You
You
kinda
go
will,
ahead and do
kinda.
little by little. I'll learn eventually.
Well, you need to learn why she's doing it, so that way if something was to happen, you know how to do it.
Yeah, if you can sit down next to her and figure out what's going on, and then it won't be such a huge shock when you're out on your own. All right, does anyone else have any questions?
No, not really.
No? All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and thank Miss Taylor for her time and her expertise in the budgeting area. Please do follow her on Instagram, and she'll probably have some more good tips and things that you can check into. And one more time, big thanks to Miss Taylor. Thank you for joining us on the computer. Bye, everybody.